I guess I'm recording to the cloud now. So when I found this out, when I started to see the power of actually using the foods you're eating to dial in your energy, and then we saw the results from that after the fact, I think that like something really changed in how I viewed nutrition, because previously I was like 6 meals a day. We got to track your foods. We got to track macros. But what I saw was people would lose weight, gain weight, lose weight, gain weight, and then just all this never ending like roller coaster. But when we started focusing on how do you feel amazing all day? How do you have a ton of energy? How do you be like the person that you need to be in your business with your family? All of a sudden, the fitness thing just starts clicking. It just starts making more and more sense. So it no longer is this white knuckling of like, I got to just track my macros, cut my carbs. It becomes a lot easier. And when it's easy, then it's sustainable. And that's like that's the big thing. So that's my authority building side of things. I did write the book, The $1 Million Body Method. So if you guys have any questions on that, have not read that, I have that available for you. I just dropped it on Audible as well. But if you want it for free, I have that. You can go to, I'm going to put this in the chat, getnatesbook.com, and you can get that for free. So I'll send you Brian, my man, I don't even have a copy of that right now. Thank you so much. I'll send you an ebook or a Kindle version, whatever you want. If you want the hard copy like Brian's got, or you want the Audible version, it's on Amazon. You can just grab it. So there's two types of people that I think belong here and are going to get the most out of this. The first type of person is the person who is not necessarily having as much energy as they would like to have. They're just kind of feeling like at that 10:30 mark, you get tired. At 2:30 in the afternoon, you get a little bit tired. After dinner, you're exhausted. And just all day long, these ups and downs that are correlated with hunger signals as well. You're getting cravings at that time too. And if that's you, you're going to really want to listen to what we have to say today, because I think this is going to solve a lot of those issues. The second person who is going to get a lot out of today is someone who's been struggling to especially drop belly fat and love handles. That's like been you, and you're like, man, I'm within kind of the last like 20 or 30 pounds. Can't quite seem to get there. This is going to have a lot of fat loss implications as well. So this is going to be great for you. The real pain that we've noticed that I think intermittent fasting is a great solution for is the pain that we don't necessarily have the same ability to eat really well every single day. You know, we'll do great Monday through Thursday, but then Friday, Saturday, Sunday comes along, and then we're off, and then we're back on. Okay, diet starts Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we're doing great. And then we find a fall off Saturday, Sunday, Monday. And it seems like this cycle repeats itself where we do really good. We get a 4-day streak and then we fall off. And this cycle is exhausting. If you've been here before, if you've ever like been in this situation, like I know for sure I have, especially, with regard to alcohol, this can be so detrimental to your physical health, first of all, but also your mental health, as you kind of just like be like, I'm working so hard on these days, and then I'm not seeing the results because, I take a step back, or I take a deep breath on the weekends, and like, shouldn't I be able to do that? So this is, I think, going to be a great solution for anyone who's ever felt that way. By the way, if you felt that way, can you just give me a thumbs up or drop a thumbs up in the chat? I'd like, just let me know that I'm not alone here. So today, kind of here's how we're going to break this down. First of all, I want to talk about 4 different things that are really annoying, that we've noticed that are big issues. I'm going to talk about how intermittent fasting can solve some of those issues. Then I'm going to explain some of the solutions that we've seen. We'll talk a little bit about the 16 and 8 fast. We'll talk about a 24-hour fast. We'll talk about evolutionary mechanisms to create more energy and clarity. We'll talk about what you need to break the fast and what you need to do to eat before your fast. And then we'll talk about how to use this in a way that's going to help with fat loss as well. I'll summarize the call at the end. And then if I've created like enough value for you, I would hopefully you'll be okay with me telling you a little bit about what we do with our clients. So I wanted to give you permission first, though, if I do share so much value that like you are okay with me telling you a little bit about how we could work together at the end of the call. Is that fair? Okay, cool. Cool. All right. So the first thing that we see as being like the main problem is that it's hard to eat well consistently. And I don't know, like when I talked a little bit earlier about the Monday through Thursday and then falling off on the weekends, and I got some people saying that they resonated with that, but I'm curious, like, has anyone been on that path where you've been doing really well, and always saw like, and actually tracked your macros, tracked your weight or whatever, and saw that across the board, you just like had these 4-day streaks, 4-day streaks, 4-day streaks, but could never get anything longer going. Anyone else feel like they can't quite break that week-long streak in their health and nutrition?
Dude, that's me. That's totally me. I get that all the time. Yeah,
what days, Brian? Like what are the days? What are the triggers?
Man, Mondays are hard. It's because I always feel like coming into the week, I want to do a lot, but then like I'm tired. Like I just lose energy. I don't know. Mondays are hard, man.
What times of day are you getting tired?
Oh man. So I peak out, I think like noonish actually. It's weird. Like I'll hit like noon and like 2:00, I think, and I crash.
Gotcha. Anyone else crashing around noon or 2? Anyone else getting that? Yeah. Okay. I feel like you'll kind of get one or the other. Like you'll get that 10:30 and then or the 2. And sometimes you'll get a little bit of both, but one is going to be more significant in terms of like energy loss. And there's a couple of easy ways to solve this. So if that's you, just drop a 2 p.m. or a 10 a.m. in the chat, so I know kind of how we can target this in and focus this. The second thing that I've seen is that these off-plan meals seem to derail our progress. Off-plan meals seem to derail our progress. And it becomes like I blew it, screw it, I blew it type of mentality where we go out to eat, we go to our grandparents' house, we're somewhere where we can't necessarily eat exactly the food that we had put together that's in our fridge right now. And it becomes this thing where it's like, well, we throw up our hands. We're like, all right, well, I ruined it this time. I'll just get back on it a little bit later. Looks like everyone is saying 2 p.m. Mostly people with the 2 p.m.s. Yeah. Okay, cool. So got some good voodoo for that. Then the other thing that we see a lot of is just like eating out. So most people are going to eat out at some point. Takeout is the easiest thing in the world. DoorDash culture right now is like, it's so easy to just get your food delivered to your door. You don't have to talk to anybody. It's awesome. But a lot of times, and even in business, we're going out to eat with potential clients or going out to eat with our vendors or whatever else. And we're just in situations where we don't know exactly what to do. And so I want to make it very easy for you by giving you a framework for eating. So when you go out to eat, you're like, I'm going to have any type of meal that has these attributes, as well as giving you a little bit of nutritional insurance so that even if you did eat a burger and fries or fried chicken or whatever, it's not going to throw you off your game and it's not going to cause you to fall off your streak. Because the goal here, and let me just skip right to the end. The goal here is not necessarily to fast. The goal here is not to work out all the time. The goal here is to develop a lifestyle where you can look back and be like, I got a 3-month streak. I got a 6-month streak. I'm on a 2-year streak right now. Because when you can say I'm on a 2-year streak, guess what? Like if you've been doing Orange Theory or CrossFit or Pilates or whatever else, it doesn't really matter because you're going to be seeing results. So if we want to make sure that you have a system in place, a framework that's going to allow you to get these longer streaks, and I'm going to share that a little bit with you in a moment. The last thing is that there's a lot of confusion out there. Like, even with regards to intermittent fasting, it's like, should you fast for 12 hours, 16 hours, 24 hours? Like, what's the best here? And then on top of that, it's like, well, should I be eating keto? Should I be eating vegetarian? Should I be eating paleo? What's Mediterranean? What is the best diet to use here? So there's a ton of different information. We see The Rock on Instagram eating his cheat meals with like a stack of pancakes up to his head, like all this craziness out there. So there's a lot of conflicting information. And so I want to give you kind of my take on that. And then if you have any other questions about some of the information you've heard or seen, let's chat about that as well. Okay. So the first thing I wanted to dive into is fasting. What's the difference between 16-hour fasts and 24-hour fasts? Who's done extended periods of time where you do the 16 and 8 or the lean gains approach? 16-hour fast. Justin, Ryan, I've seen you guys. Brian. Cool. Just anyone want to jump in real quickly and share like one thing that was great about that and one thing that was hard about that? Go ahead, Justin.
For me, the toughest part was I was doing a 7 to 11. So being done eating at 7 was kind of a struggle for me. So if it like went to 7:30, I'd kick it to 11:30. So that was kind of my January goal. I started a couple of days with a 15, then bumped it up to a 16-hour. And I think What are we on the 26th? I think there's probably been weekends. I definitely struggle just because, to stop eating by 7 o'clock if I'm actually going out is a big struggle. But I think there's probably been at least a full solid 2 weeks that have been good.
Solid. Yeah. Nice 2-week streak. We love that. Cool. And sounds like you may have actually make it work for your life when you're just like, okay, well, it's 7:30 now. Now it's 11:30. That's nice.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Brian, you want to jump in? What was good about it? What was hard about it?
I'm big on snacks, so I I had a hard time like not snacking in between those hours, man. Especially like weaning from sugar drinks and stuff like that too. I'll eat like corn nuts and stuff like that, and just making sure that I'm not eating at all. It's like between those hours was really tough.
So not eating like in that window of the 16 hours was tough for you?
Oh yeah.
Do you feel like when you were struggling to not snack, a lot of that is habitual, or are you just hungry?
No, that was habitual. Like I do recognize like there's indicators like HDR indicators for that stuff, and like my brain's telling me that I want to be like that I should be hungry, but it's habitual. It's just like this thing where like I need to be like snacking on something or having something that I'm munching on more than anything.
Totally.
Yeah.
Now, who's tried a 24-hour fast or longer? Who's done like what I consider a prolonged fast? Anyone gone to 48? Yeah, Ryan. Anyone done 72? Yeah. Okay, Ryan, what did you think about 48, 72? Like a little bit of the longer fast?
48, I think, the first time was rough. I've kind of fallen into a pretty decent pattern of 24-hour fast, and it feels very manageable because food is in the not too distant future. But then 48 on day one is like, well, dinner is not going to be in for another 36 hours. And so mentally it's a challenge. Physically, it's, I think my energy levels were good overall, really. I think it was mostly the mental game for me, and didn't really feel too much of a crash or highs really. And the coffee on the second day is a nice thing to take in, but
it's almost worth doing it just for that cup of coffee on day 2,
just to get that special taste. Absolutely.
Yeah. Good. I'm glad you brought that up, because you're right. Like there's a heavy duty mental component, especially when you're talking about those 48 plus hours. I've only done 72 one time, but I would highly recommend that everyone try that out at least once in their life, because it does create a mental toughness and like a kind of like almost a mental breakthrough at the end where you're like, oh, I can do literally anything I want to. So the discrepancy between the 16-hour fast and the prolonged fast is, I always think about it like this. If you want to maintain your weight easily, if you would like to have a system in place with your body where you can basically be a little bit more relaxed with what you're eating, you don't necessarily need to cut a ton of weight. Maybe you're kind of within 5 pounds of your goal weight. A 16-hour fast done regularly is a great option for men. If you are a female, this is not necessarily the case, because the stressor of a daily 16-hour fast, although it's low, it will add up over time and can be detrimental to females. So if you are a guy, you're within 5 pounds of your goal weight, or you feel like you're right about your goal weight, doing a daily 16-hour fast is an awesome way to stay there really, really easily. Obviously, you can't just be crushing graham crackers and like a Coke, all day long if you want to continue to get great results. But it provides a lot of just a lot of structure and a lot of the ability to have kind of a nutritional insurance policy in place where you're not stressing about what you're going to eat for breakfast and that sort of thing. It's also cutting out, somewhere around 25 to 30% of your daily calories. So giving yourself a safety net, kind of an insurance policy. So you're not necessarily having such a hard time like keeping your calories low. It's like an automatic way of keeping your calories low. There's also a process that's going on in your body called autophagy during that, autophagy. And all that means is it's just a cleansing. It's your body cleaning itself out. And when you're able to use this process effectively, like it's a great way to detox your body. You don't have to do any like pills, powders, or potions. Go sign up for a multi-level marketing experience. You can just use your body's natural sources of detoxification. So that's happening at the same time. Now, the 24 to 48 hour fast, I think is special. I think there's something else that goes on with this. First of all, the process we just talked about, autophagy. If in a 24-hour fast, you get 3.5 times as much autophagy as you do in one 16-hour fast. So simply by extending your fast for 8 extra hours, you are rapidly increasing the amount of cellular cleansing you're getting. Your body is detoxing at a really fast rate. And in those last 8 hours, you're going to be deeper into ketosis and going to be teaching your body to burn more fat for fuel. So be teaching your body to burn more of your stored body fat for fuel. So a 16-hour fast is great. It's a great way to just kind of live. It's very simple. But if you want to actually start communicating to your body, hey, it's time to start burning body fat for fuel, a 24 or 40-hour fast is special in this way. The second thing about this that I'll say in terms of the 24 or 48-hour fast is that you get you start getting this like evolutionary mechanism and you start using it to your advantage. So in our bodies, if you think about kind of, we've only been in an industrial society for the last like couple hundred years. So prior to that, we were hunters and we were gatherers. So we needed to be able to walk long distances and be able to use our preferred source of fuel for those long extended walks, which for our bodies is going to be fat a lot of the times. Carbohydrates are a great energy source for running a triathlon and being really active or sprinting or short distances or lifting weights. But for walking long distances, because we need to go harvest a route somewhere that's really, really far away, our body's preferred source of fuel for that is fat. So understanding that about our bodies is helpful in understanding what type of fast is right for you. Secondly, as you get a little bit more hungry, your body will respond by giving you a little bit more energy. And this is a crazy paradigm shift, because when you start to realize that hunger, especially those little hunger signals, Brian, you were talking about kind of being a little bit hungry, needing some snacks during the day. When you can understand that this is not your body saying, hey, we need to get fed, but it's your body saying, hey, here's a little boost of energy. That slight shift in your paradigm can actually make you more effective at doing whatever you're doing. So rather than being like, oh man, I'm hungry, I'm going to go scavenge for some corn nuts or look for a snack. And you go, no, I'm actually more focused than I was. My body's turned my intensity up just a little bit. Let me dive back into this task. Let me use this tool that my body has given me to create more focus, more intensity, and get better results in my business, in my life. Does that make sense? And the reason that's true is like, that sounds a little bit woo, right? It's a little bit like, oh, my body's giving me energy. I thought like, aren't I hangry? But if you are going out and you're with your buddy, you and Grog, you're sitting around the campfire, you guys just finished eating a big wild pig, right? Are you going to be very likely to want to go out and hunt a woolly mammoth after you've just eaten a big meal? Like on Thanksgiving, are you going to be ready to go out and play a big pickup game of basketball after crushing Thanksgiving dinner? Or do you want to sit on the couch and watch the Detroit Lions lose a football? Like it's got to be the Lions. It's a tradition. Just like watching Green Bay not make it to the playoffs. I just love that so much. So if you are now in a little bit of a hungry state, what's going to happen is your body wants to keep you alive. Newsflash, your body loves you. It wants you to live for a really long period of time. It doesn't want you to die. And if we can operate off of that assumption, it makes a lot of these next steps easy to understand. So if your body doesn't want you to die and you're getting a little bit hungry, what's going to happen is you're getting more mental acuity. You're getting a bit more perceptive. You're going to be able to have a little bit better hand-eye coordination. You are going to have a better short-term to long-term memory transfer. Your brains is going to be firing, those neurons are going to be firing just a little bit faster. Everything in your body is going to tick up kind of just a half notch. And the reason for that is because your body knows that you need to go hunt in order to get that food, and in order to hunt at the highest level and not die from being gored by a saber-toothed tiger, you want to be in a good state mentally. You want to be focused. You want to have that mental, like be in the zone, right? So if you think about it like this, now we're starting to understand how you can actually create artificially the sensation of being in the zone. So whether that's like, hey, I need to do a podcast, I got to follow up with a client, I'm delivering a big speech, I'm going in for like a promotion, I'm going to try to like negotiate with my boss. If you can start understanding that, hey, I need to be in this state in order to be at my best, we can start manipulating the variables ahead of time to have you show up as your best. So that's why a 24 or 40-hour fast is incredible for manipulating your energy, feeling better, having more focus and mental acuity, as well as burning fat, because we're utilizing your body's stored fat, especially belly fat and love handles, to create some of this energy. So like, I mean, give me a thumbs up if you want more energy in life, period. Yeah. And keep that thumb up if you're like, if I could get it from actually the stored fat that is just already exists in my body, even better, right? Okay, cool. So if you're in a place where you're like, hey, let's talk a little bit more about how to burn fat, but also continue to create that energy. Let's keep talking about this 24 to 48-hour fast, because I think that's a lot where the magic happens. The next thing that I think is incredibly important when it comes to a fast, and it's still important for a 16-hour fast. So if you're still on that, like 16-8, like that's where I want to live at, great. But we want to make sure that you're eating the right things before you start your fast, and you're breaking your fast with the right foods as well. And just kind of cut to the chase here, it's basically going to be a similar meal both times. You don't need to do anything crazy different from both sides. We want to make sure that you're having high nutrient dense foods. We're having the right amounts of vitamins and minerals. And then you're also giving yourself plenty of the right types of foods, so you're not starving at hour 10, right? So have you ever gone into a fast after having eaten like pizza or just eating a bunch of bullshit? You'll know what I mean here, because you get really, really hungry really fast, especially if you ate some sugar, you ate some candy or anything that's a little bit sweet, you are going to struggle through your whole fast. So if you're having sugar to start off your fast, you're already putting yourself like out of commission here. So anyone who stays to the end, also, I'll have you put your email addresses in, and I'll send you I wrote a little ebook about 3 different meals you can use to break your fast, and you can extrapolate from that and make it your own. But the goal is this: we want to break our fast with having something that's high vegetable, high protein, and then you can add in the carbs on the back end. Does this sound familiar to anyone? Anyone done that before for dinner? Yeah. That's basically one of the daily disciplines of the $1 Million Body Program, right? That's one of our daily investments, having that CEO dinner. It's going to be high carb, high protein, and high vegetables. When we break a fast, if you want to take it to that next level, and I'm not saying this is going to be like make or break your results, but the best way for your body to absorb these nutrients is to eat these foods in a specific order. So when you break your fast, starting off by having your vegetables, giving yourself the ability to have a lot of fiber, a lot of vitamins, and a lot of minerals. Because when you are in a fasted state, your body is going to be really ready to uptake anything you put into it. Whatever you give it right at that moment, it wants to absorb, right? So if you're like, boom, chocolate chip cookie, your body's going to be like, give me that. And then it's going to be like, ugh, But if you give it to like a nice, fresh, like delightful, like a salad, you get some carrots, you give yourself an apple, an orange, something that's very nutrient dense and it's going to give you that, like the fiber, the vitamins, the minerals that we need. Your body's going to absorb all of that. Okay. So you're going to be you're in a state where you can really take in a lot of nutrients. So utilize that to your advantage, especially coming off a 24-hour fast. The second thing is, after you finish the vegetables, then we'll jump into a protein. Okay. So now that you've had that, we're going to give yourself something that's going to slow down your digestive process, keep your blood sugar nice and stable. Okay. Because again, you have nothing in your stomach. You want to make sure that you are giving yourself a strong base of satiety and you're setting the tone for what's happening next. And the really cool thing about a 24 or 48-hour fast is that we don't even realize that in our Western culture, we're constantly overeating. We're constantly overeating. And it's not even our fault. Food manufacturers and food processors spend billions of dollars to engineer food that is soft, that is hyper palatable, and that makes it very easy for you to just chomp that down, right? How many bites does it take someone to eat a Big Mac? Like 3, because it's the softest food. It doesn't require you to chew it, because food manufacturers want us to eat more of the food without feeling like we're full. So if you chew your food more, like that's why a steak is always going to be more satiating than a burger that you get from a fast food restaurant. Phil says he can do it in 2. And I feel like put up or shut up, Phil. Gonna have to see it. Throw the video in the group. So it's not our fault that we're overeating. It's just that our bodies are now, our stomachs, which should be the size of our fist, have expanded over time because we've consistently put in more volume of food than what we actually need. So is it any surprise that, because hunger is a volume-based metric. So if your stomach should be this big, we fill it up like this, and then we get all the food is out of it. And all of a sudden your body's like, hey, our stomach is completely empty. And then we fill it up over and over again. How, like, is it any surprise that it's hard to lose weight? Is it any surprise to anyone that like the obesity epidemic is rising and we're set to be at 60% overweight and obese by 2030? Like, it shouldn't be, because our food quality is getting worse and worse and worse. Our activity level is getting lower and lower and lower. And our stomachs are accommodating that. Like, I feel like we are on track. Anyone ever seen WALL-E? See that? Anyone seen that? We've got kids at home. But basically, WALL-E is this dystopian future look of people just sitting around in like moving sidewalks and chairs, just watching advertisements and slurping on like big, like supersized colas. And I feel like we're headed in that direction. Yeah, bro. I think about WALL-E all the time. Yeah, it's scary. It's super scary. Yeah, like, yeah, you just ordered DoorDash. You don't have to talk to anybody. They just show up and bring you food, and you're like, yeah, it's for all of us, and it's just you there. There's no accountability. So when when you fast, when you do a longer fast, 16-hour fast is not as good for this, but a 48 or a 72-hour fast will reset the size of your stomach down to its natural state. And what's crazy is people don't understand this, is they'll fast and then they'll eat food and they'll be like, I got really full all of a sudden. I'm like, that's good. That's all you needed to have. You didn't need to be eating more than that. And you've been eating more than that for years and years and years and giving yourself more calories. That's why we have this slow buildup. Most people gain about between 5 and 7 pounds a year. And they look back in 5 or 10 years and like, oh shit, I'm up 40, 50, 60 pounds. And they don't understand where it came from. And most of the time, honestly, it's between November and December as we gain those 5 pounds. We do good all year and we gain it in November, December. That's what happens. That's like the trajectory. So there's a couple different reasons for doing that 24 or 40 hour fast. That's why I say it's a really great option if you want to have the ability to burn fat and kind of give your body that reset. The last thing is we need to be eating the right meal before a fast. So I touched on this a bit already. If you're having alcohol before a fast, that's going to make it a lot harder. When you're having alcohol or when you're having sugar, here's what happens. That's going to break down in your body and it's going to start feeding this specific type of bacteria in your gut. Now, this like gut bacteria is crazy because it has a direct line to your brain. And the more you feed sugar, alcohol, that sort of thing to this gut bacteria, the more it's going to demand that from your brain. So that's when we get those 10:30 or 2 o'clock hunger signals. It's like, hey, we should get that donut. There was a donut in the break room, right? Let's go get the half. Let's go eat it real quick. That's that bacteria talking to your brain and telling you you are now hungry, but you're not. It just wants to be fed. So it is this autonomous life form that lives inside of you that demands that you feed it. You know, like it feels like shit. What's that? What's the guy in the Mad Max movie? Someone jump in and tell me, but it's like having a little man like inside of you being like, "Hey, feed me." So, but that's what we're dealing with, and a lot of us don't realize. We're just thinking, "Oh, I'm hungry. Guess I'm hungry. Guess I'll go eat some food." But in reality, it's not necessarily even a hunger. It's just a false hunger signal sent by the bacteria that we've been feeding with sugar and alcohol for a really long period of time to your brain. So when we starve it out by doing a sugar detox, by doing a 48-hour fast, those bacteria will reduce in size and you'll stop getting as many big hits to your brain of, hey, we need to eat. We need to get some food in our bodies. Yeah, that's right. It's total recall. Thanks, Phil. Appreciate it. So making sure that you're not having so if you let's say you were in Cancun and you're partying it up and you drink a bunch of beers and you're like, man, I should fast tomorrow. Well, here's what's going to happen is you're going to wake up, you're going to be hungry and you're going to be starving all day. You're going to have a real bad headache. You're going to feel like shit. You might even feel a little bit nauseous. So rather than that, what I would recommend is wake up, have a healthy meal for breakfast, and then start your fast at that point. You know, I think that eating, like fasting after like a Thanksgiving dinner can be a really great option, because even if you've probably overeaten like all of us do, you've still given your body a lot of nutrient dense foods, a lot of proteins. So making sure that you are starting off with a good, healthy meal is going to be, whom's talking, is going to be critical if you want to be able to last the entire time. So again, we want to start off, and it doesn't matter quite as much the order you have it in, but a vegetable or a fruit, something natural, a protein, and then I would also do a carb source, something that's like a little bit more, a little harder to break down, a little lower glycemic. So not like a piece of bread here, but like a potato or a sweet potato, or, some beans. Those, like something that's going to take a little bit longer. It's a little lower glycemic. That means it slows you down your blood sugar and your digestion. That is going to be a great way to start off a fast in a way that's not going to make you hungry 6 hours later, because then you're fighting that the entire time. And sometimes it's okay to fight through that, but especially if it's your first time doing it, or you're just getting back into it, or you want to run actually a 48-hour fast, we want to make sure you start off with a win. You get it, make sure it's easy. Brian says, I get lightheaded sometimes when I haven't eaten, like maybe hypoglycemic or whatever. I'd say number one is check what that first meal is. Because if you're eating a larger meal that is nutrient dense and has a solid complex carb source, that's a great way to start it off. Number two, what is your hydration level like? And when I say hydration, I don't just mean water, because water after a certain point can be dehydrating, especially out in the desert. So like, even though we're like, I'm here in Arizona, I can still get dehydrated during the winter if I'm just drinking water. So making sure you're drinking some sort of electrolytes as well. I use the Element packets. I think these are great. I use about 2 a day, or if I'm fasting, I'll go almost like up to 3 or 4. So making sure you have that, Brian, because a lot of times lightheadedness is just dehydration. So check on those 2 things first next time you do. And I would start with a 24-hour fast. Justin had a question. Are supplements allowed during a fast? Yeah, this is a great question. So what can you eat during a fast? Well, first is water and electrolytes that are 0 sugar. Ditch that liquid IV shit. That stuff is garbage. Just throw that right in the trash. But you want an electrolyte that is 0 sugar. So Element does a really nice job with that. Redmond Real Salt does a really nice job with this. Their salt is called Relight, Lyte. There's a couple other brands out there, but those are the 2 big ones that I recommend. You can have coffee or green tea as long as it's black or there's no creamer in it. A lot of people are like, hey, does creamer or does having a little splash of half and half or milk break a fast? The answer is yes. Anything that has calories in it will break your fast. Now, if you have a half of a tablespoon of creamer in your coffee, is it going to make a big difference? If you have like a half scoop of protein in there that has 40 calories and 12 grams of protein, it's going to make a difference? Not really, because a lot of those, especially with like the liquids or the supplements, those are pre-digested. They're really broken down into their minimalist compartments. They do break the fast, but you will get right back to it pretty quickly thereafter. So yes. And, so if it comes down to like you having like a little bit of creamer in your coffee or not doing the fast, do the creamer. You're still going to get the majority of the benefits. Anything else like a pre-workout with 0 calories in it, totally fine. A nootropic like M-Focus, totally fine. We just want to make sure that there's no calories and no sugars. And most supplements will fit that bill. I will take an amino acid supplement during fasting as well. That's generally what I'm using, especially pre and post workout. Amino acid supplements are basically just protein supplements that have been broken down into their amino acid components. So I don't exactly know how it works, but somehow you take the protein, you break it down even farther. Now there's no calories. I don't know. Also, as a side note, I go to at my house, I have this little like olive oil spray for my pan, and it says 0 calories on it because the spray size is only 1/4 of a second of a spray. So that's too little for them to have to disclose any caloric information, even though it's oil. So it has 120 calories per tablespoon. Anyways, that's just some bullshit that I was noticing today. All right. So those are the 4 things that you need to kind of be aware of. So basically what we talked about was 16-8 for maintenance, 24 to 48 hours for rapid fat loss. How to use like your evolutionary mechanisms to create more energy and clarity within the fasting situation. How to break your fast with the right foods, and how to start off your fast with the right foods and avoid having the wrong foods. So let me throw it back to you guys right now. What questions do you have? What questions did I bring up during this that you weren't sure of? Or how do I make it more confusing? Go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, I had a question regarding the supplements, the element electrolytes that you like. Their website, I think, is awesome that they give you a recipe to make your own unflavored version, like just the
home
bare
brew.
bones. And yeah, it's sodium, potassium, and magnesium. Being in Colombia, I couldn't get potassium or magnesium very easily. And I was wondering your thoughts on and I've heard other people just like basically drinking salt water. So I've just been like grinding some pink Himalayan salt into my water bottle. And do you think that's a good thing to do?
It's a great option. Okay. So a lot of times people will start saying, okay, well, I don't want to have too much salt. I've got high blood pressure. I've got hypertension. And the reason that salt by itself will cause an increase in hypertension or blood pressure is because salt bonds with water molecules and creates a little bit more like a cellular hydration. So you get a bit more of expansion in your cell walls. So you get like that more pressure on your blood vessels. But when you have the sodium with the potassium and the magnesium, you don't get that same effect. You don't get quite as much of that, like the hydrate or the expansive effect. So for someone who's got like high blood pressure, I would definitely recommend do this. Don't just do the salt. I always do salt in my shakes just to make sure that I'm, again, just getting a little extra. For you, I don't think that's going to be an issue. I would probably then just throw in do the salt and then do the juice of like half of a lemon too.
I actually do that just because it tastes better than plain salt water. So perfect.
There you go. Yeah. I think it's got some potassium in it, I believe. So I think that'll help.
Actually, wait, is lime cool?
Lime is super cool.
Right.
I've only done it with the lemon, but I'll go look and see if there's what minerals we're getting from that. Yeah. Good question though. Who else? Anyone else got a question? Just jump in because I can't see everybody.
What's your thought process on of like the emergency packs? Are they too sugary?
Ooh, that's a good question. Let me look that up real quick.
Let's see. Yeah, because I wasn't aware of that you could have like the electrolyte packets. I mean, how that would make a fast definitely a lot easier.
Yeah, these does have 35 calories in them. So that's and 6 of those are coming from sugars. So there's probably a better option out there for a vitamin C.
I'll check out that element.
Yeah. But I wouldn't use emergency as electrolytes anyways. I'll use that as like when I need to like slam my body with vitamin C. And one way I've done that before is I'll take like a protein shake. I'll do a vanilla protein with the emergency pack in there. It's kind of a little bit like a creamsicle vibe.
Definitely stealing that.
Any other questions at all? Cool. So basically, the big problem that we're seeing is that people don't necessarily have the plan that works and don't have the accountability to follow through on this. So either you're fasting for a little bit and it's not necessarily working, or you do a 24-hour fast and you didn't see the results you were looking for, so you stop. So you don't have someone like following through with you and following up and being like, hey, how did it go? Here's the adjustments we need to make. I've talked to so many people who are like, I can't do a 24-hour fast. I always get lightheaded. I can't do a 24-hour fast. I get really hungry. And most of the time, it's not like you're going to get it right the first time, right? You don't go into a gym for the first time ever and go bench press 225 pounds. You don't pick up a driver and instantly hit it 300 yards, right? We suck at first, and nutrition, even though we are all eaters, right? It doesn't mean we're good at this yet. And so it takes a little bit of time and some practice and some reps to actually get in the zone with this. So giving it a little bit of a time period to warm up and get to the point where you're like, I've got this, I'm nailing it. That's going to be so helpful, right? Taking a year-long perspective on any sort of fitness goal is just going to make your life a lot easier. But here's what's not going to work. And I've seen this a lot of times, is just taking this information and then like trying to piecemeal it into your life. You might, like I said, the first time is not going to be fun for you. You might be hungry. You might not see the results you're looking for. And then giving up on it after only trying one time. That's never going to work out. And what I don't want you to do is burn yourself out by being like, yeah, I tried that fasting. He said the summit didn't work for me. Because the truth is, this will work for anybody. It sometimes just takes a little bit of the finessing it to make sure that you're getting the best possible results. So what I know that works a lot for people is just having someone in your life that you can do this with or have as accountability in this way. So that way you're like, exactly, hey, on a daily basis, when I'm doing my fast or when I'm off my fast, what are my daily actions and what are my goals that are going to get me closer to that goal or this result I wanted? And I know that like right now, especially coming off of like it's January, right? I don't know if you saw this. I put up on Facebook the other day a graph that I saw where it's like March, where new gym visits and fast food visits finally meet. Because like starting in January, gym visits are high, fast food is low, and then all the way they hit in March, and then they go back up. So, but the third Thursday in January, which was like last Thursday, that's when people historically fall off their New Year's resolution. So coming into January, we're all motivated. Maybe listening to this got you more motivated. Hopefully this is kind of giving you some ideas on how you can use this in your own life. So right now is a great time to set something up where you can have some structure. So making sure that you say, okay, on Tuesdays, that's when I'm going to do a 24-hour fast. Hey, next week, Ryan, I'm going to do a 48-hour fast. Will you do it with me? Can we do this together and have that accountability together? Or maybe you're like, hey, I need someone to just walk me through the process step by step and give me the roadmap to success. Okay. I asked earlier if it was cool if I kind of showed you a little bit about how I work with clients. Is that still all right? Okay. Actually, Ryan, we've been working together for a minute here. Would you mind just jumping in, kind of sharing it, like what your experience has been, like, and kind of being able to do the fast, have the training, get the feedback? How's that been for you?
Me or Fowler?
Ryan Sutton, you.
Yeah, it's so I think I've been with you, Nate, for I think it's been maybe 5 or 6 months now.
6.5, yeah.
6.5. You're counting. It's been good. Yeah. The start of it was rough, but overall, I mean, really what Nate has done for me has created that plan and that pathway that I never could figure out on my own. So, really it's kind of the $1 Million Body method. If you've read the book or read the references and stuff, having a workout plan charted out on a daily basis, as well as then the meal recommendations, the fasting recommendations. Hey, I wanted to get more aggressive. I'm going on a vacation in a month. And so told Nate that, and he's kind of rebuilt my strategy for the couple of months prior to that in order to look good, feel good, and have a good time for a vacation. So, I mean, it's really a great relationship, I guess, with Nate, that is, checking in a couple times a week, texting back and forth, emailing back and forth sometimes. That really is just, he's kind of the guy that's just always there helping you out, and but not overbearing by any means. And so it's been, I mean, for the way I like to work and everything, like, it's great chart and path. And then, he has things like this for team members that, we're on a call once a week or so, that we can then just touch base and have more involved interface, that you then learn more and can apply that to, further improve. And that's why I'm here, is still to continue to learn more, to further improve. I've heard a couple conversations around fasting before, but again, today, even I've learned some more. So that's
I appreciate that,
Nate.
I just put you on the spot. So, man, I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah. But like, kind of like what Ryan said is what we strive to do. And also, like, I feel like, and you said I'm not overbearing. I think I've taken it as a personal challenge. So expect more overbearance later. Just to let you know.
Bring it on.
I basically, I want to make sure that everything's laid out for you. I don't want this to be a guessing game, right? You have your own expertise. I'm not an architect. Ryan, if I want to go design something, I am going to be completely lost. I got some like Lincoln logs. That's about as good as I do. But I want you to be amazing at that. Let me just outline your workouts for you. I mean, outline your nutrition for you. So that way, you know what you do. You can operate in your area of genius, and I'll just outline these little pieces for you to make that easier for you in every other regard. And the accountability, like I said, we follow up. That's like, we just want to make sure that like not everyone is on the same path. Someone might be like, hey, I want to work out 5 times a week. Someone's like, I'm going to walk 3 times a week. Wherever you're at though, whatever you're committing to, we're going to follow up with you and say, hey, how's it going? Did you do what you said? Are you still following the commitments? And then the last thing I think that, is a very unsexy thing, but I think is critical. And it's the more often you go up and down on the yo-yo or the roller coaster, you see this is important, but a long-term perspective. It's nice to drop 20 pounds in a month, but that always leads to gaining 20 pounds the next month. Having someone in your corner for the next several months or years takes pressure off and allows you to do this for the last time. So that when you do run into troubles, you hit a plateau, you go on vacation, something, you don't fall off because hey, I'm going to come back on next Tuesday, we're going to chat. So if that sounds like something that you want to do, I got two options for you. If you're like, hey, I want to just chat a little bit more and see what that looks like. Here's a link where you can book a call with me and my team, and we can just have a little chat, see what that would look like to move forward. Or if you're like, you know what, I'm ready to do something like that, but just give me the roadmap. Just give me the basics. Here's the most economical, easiest option for working with us. It doesn't involve the training to start, but we would just get you into the mastermind, making sure that you have the tools for the nutrition and the accountability moving forward. So that way you know exactly what to do and when to do it. So I think that first link you might have to paste because I didn't put an HTTP. So basically, if you're looking at this, it should open up to a little video. This is just going to talk through kind of what the mastermind entails, how we work together, what that looks like. Just click it. It's like a quick 5-minute little video. And if you want to join, if that looks good to you, you can just text me back and say, I'm in, click this link, and then we can get you rocking and rolling. If you want some more information, then book a time with me on that Calendly link, and we can talk a bit more about what that would look like to work together and what you specifically need and what are your goals. Is that fair? Okay, cool. So we got a couple minutes left. I'd love to answer any questions anyone has. I know we got a few additional minutes. I was talking really fast there for a sec, but any other questions? Anything else that's coming up either around fasting, or if you're like, I'll just open up to like fat loss, energy, anything we talked about so far today. Feel free to jump in.
Yeah, I did want to follow up on frequency.
Hit me.
I know 16 and 8 is kind of a daily thing, but then what do you recommend overall with 24 or 48s? As far as then the benefit between the fasts, for your body to continue to be trained to use fat, etc.
Yeah, great question. So I feel like if you are in a place where you're like, I'm looking for the most rapid fat loss, I would like to lose fat as quickly as I possibly can. I'm not interested in tracking any of my calories, and I have client dinners 2 or 3 times a week. I would say do a 48-hour fast once per week. Okay. And that sounds a lot, and it is. But if you're going to be doing all these other things, you're going to be drinking 2 or 3 times a week and then doing a 48-hour fast, that can make up for a multitude of sins and still give you the results that you're looking for. Okay. The one thing I would say is that if you do trend towards having disordered eating tendencies, be careful of that, because that can sneak up on you. Okay. If you're like, hey, I'm trying to lose weight, I'm down to take it slow. I'm not in any rush. I got time here. Doing a 24-hour fast once per week is a great way to do that. 24 or even 36 sometimes. That's fantastic. And then there's also kind of like that middle ground where it's like, I'm going to fast 40 hours once per week or once a month, and then 3 24s. I think that's a really good cadence to get into, because when you do a 48-hour fast, you instantly realize how easy 24 is. And when I talk about 24, guys, I'm not talking about like eating breakfast and then not eating or you're like eating dinner, then not eating until the breakfast. I would consider that a 36. So 24 to me is like eat dinner at 6 o'clock on Tuesday and then eat dinner at 6 o'clock on Wednesday. So you still get a meal during the day. So that's what I would consider a 24-hour fast, which is really not that hard. So doing a 48 once per week is kind of like, that's like the elite level. You're boosting your mental toughness. You're helping your body shrink its stomach naturally. You're getting a lot of this, the help from the autophagy process, but then you're not having to do it every single week. So you get that discrepancy, which I like. Does that answer your question, Ryan?
So you feel just, for somebody that's active, eats good, but also eats like shit, that going a 24-hour once a week versus a 16-8 5 days a week is more beneficial?
It depends. What's your main goal? Are you happy with where you're at and you want to kind of just maintain it? Or are you actually trying to actively lose fat?
I mean, I'd like to tone up a little bit. I mean, I'm fine where I'm at weight wise. My strength is up, but it's just It's just the extra layer that I've got, you know.
Try the 24 or honestly, like try a 48 and then 324s. See how that felt for you. I feel like that could be a game changer without applying a ton of extra effort. And that being said though, Justin, like I still wouldn't go, I wouldn't shift away from your fasting completely. I would still try to get at least 12 hours on the days when you're not doing the 24. So if you're eating at 7, then don't eat again until after 7.
Yeah. I mean, hell, if you're sleeping for 8 or 9 hours, that shouldn't be too hard.
You think so? Yeah.
I mean, I honestly, I think where I struggle a little bit on that, but I've gotten much better since I've done it a handful of times is, I get home from the gym in the morning and naturally I want some protein or something. But to wait a few hours, I mean, it's not that big of a deal.
Gotcha. Yeah. I think like an amino acid supplement or pills can be helpful at that time as well. I take them. I don't think it's like the biggest deal, especially if you have protein in your system like 4 hours before or 4 hours afterwards. Like what we're seeing now is the studies are showing that it's not a big deal. You're going to be fine either way, but I'll still take an amino acid before I go to the gym or after I get back, just to make sure that, we're locking in the gains. Can't oversell the gains. You know what I mean? Yeah. Cool. That's a good question though. Try it out, Justin. I'd love to know what you think and some of the changes you see, if anything. Cool. Any other questions? I got time to take one more question. Awesome. Hey, well, guys, if this has been helpful for you, I'd love to, if you know someone else who would like, hey, they should watch this recording. I'm going to have that available. I'll probably put that up. So let me know, and then drop your email address into the chat real quick. And I'm going to send out the ebook of the 3 meals you should eat before or after your fast. And I'll get those out today. All right. Ryan, I feel like I keep asking you for your email in every like a social media forum. Got it. I know I have most of these already, but I just want to make sure that way I can have them all in one place. Awesome, you guys. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Thanks for taking time out of your Thursday to chat. If there's anything else that I can help out with, or you would like I can be a resource to you in any capacity in your health and fitness, or someone else that around you that needs help with their energy or dropping some fat, let me know. I'd love to fill that for you. So hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day. Hit me if I can do anything for you at all, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks.